So this is a video for all of the people that are thinking of doing a doctorate for career mobility and thinking about moving up in their career by getting some sort of doctorate. So if you don't know me, I'm Professor Maslach. I'm Associate Professor of Innovation Strategy and Entrepreneurship. And I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There's so many people that help me out that I wanted to pay the favor forward to help you out. So I sent out a poll a few days ago on the reciprocity community, and there was a chunk of people, I would say about 40% of the individuals, and you can go onto that poll, and they said that they're doing a doctorate, or they're interested in doing a doctorate because of career mobility. And I'm going to tell you that that is the wrong approach, and I'm going to be very upfront with this. You should not be doing a doctorate then. If you're thinking of moving up in your career, you probably can do a professional doctorate, and that would be fine, whatever that is. Maybe it's an EDD, for example, which is in education. Maybe it's an executive PhD or an MD, for example. All of those are very good, and they do help you out in terms of career mobility, and they do net you some return from doing that. But doing a doctorate, a traditional PhD, it is not going to help with your career mobility. I really strongly believe that. I don't think that there are great opportunities for people that are doing a PhD in terms of career mobility, because what you end up getting is that there's a great deal of demand from the number of candidates that are graduating at any time, so PhD candidates at any time, and the number of supply that there is. So the number of positions that you would consider that are legitimate is actually pretty small. And so there's a lot more competition in the PhD market. And it doesn't matter what market you look at. In fact, probably business, the one that we're in, or the one that I'm in, is probably, even though it's very competitive, it is not as competitive as other fields, like chemistry, for example. And the career mobility that you're going to get from it is just non-existent. And so you're better off by doing professional programs of some sort, whether, my undergrad was in engineering, doing something like that, going back to school and getting an engineering degree, going back and getting some sort of professional, maybe it's a master's of public health or something along those lines, that will help you out. An MBA is wonderful. The reason why you do a PhD has nothing to do with career mobility. It's a terrible route. You are not going to net any benefit from that. I'm being very upfront. It's not going to make you more money. It will, but it's going to cost you a tremendous amount of money. There is very little benefit from it, rationally, financially, in any sort of way, or career mobility way. And some people are going to argue with me, but the vast majority of the people that have a PhD are going to agree with me, or have a doctorate, traditional doctorate, are going to agree with me. But what you have to realize, the reason people do this is because of the joy of learning. And you do it because it is completely irrational and it makes no sense. There is a really great paper that I just read recently from one of my colleagues at HEC Paris. I really love what he does. He's just a very brilliant person. Did his PhD at Stanford. And he wrote about Daniel Newark. You can check him out. I just love his ideas. And he wrote about the logic of absurdity. And people rationally pursue things because they're absolutely absurd and they're illogical. And they do that because of the rebel spirit, or because of freedom, or because of other things that they are motivated from that, beyond the fact that you're just doing it for financial means or anything along those ways. And I think this logic of absurdity is exactly what happens when you do a doctorate. You have to do it just simply because you get some sort of satisfaction because of doing it, because of climbing that mountain, because of going up the hill that everybody thinks is insane and it's totally a bad choice that you went into. So if you can get past that and you can acknowledge that this is not about career mobility, it really isn't. It's a terrible choice. Do not do it because of career mobility. I'm being very upfront. It is not going to benefit you in any sort of way. Do a professional program, some sort of professional program. Become an MD if you really want a doctorate. Go get a medical degree. That's going to be your best choice of action. The reason why you do this is because you just simply want to do it, and there's no reason behind it, and there's no logic behind it other than the fact that you gain some sort of joy from the learning and from the process of grinding at something, even when everybody else knows that that is an insane choice of action.